Hello everyone. Let's talk about the interface and the changes in Java 8. Before we are going into Java 8, let's talk about what is an interface, how it looks like in a previous versions of Java. Okay, so before Java 8, the interface is just to define the contractor, or you can simply put it in a way like that it is just allowed to put a signature to it. Okay, the signature implementation has to be done only on the classes who's going to be implement that particular interface. Okay, and no implementation allowed at all. The interface only contain method declarations, not the definition. And the class implemented the interface allowed to provide implementation. That is the usual thing. So I am an interface and you are in a class. If you implements me, you are allowed to use me. If you're not implement me, you're not allowed to use me. That is the concept. And upgrading interface not possible. The problem is when you're adding a new method in your interface, for example, you're a client and there are 20 you're a client and there are 20 additional systems working based on your interface. The thing is, when you make a change in your interface, all the 20 system has to be updated their code with the new interface implementation. So there are a lot of tightly coupling is there. So there is no loosely coupling. So it's tightly coupled. Okay. So if one has to make change, if one make a change, everyone else has to be made a change. Okay. And this interface in Java 8, it contains two important methods. One is the default method, the another one is a static method. So what is default and static? Those are all keywords. The method signatures. Let's talk about what is a default and what is a static. In the both scenarios, default is a keyword and static is also another keyword. And both of them are allowed to create a method with a body. So in Java 8, when you have an interface, in that particular interface, you can write a method with an implementation, but it has to be with a keyword, default, or a static. Okay, but both are similar. Both are looks same. Both has a method and both has implementation. But what is the difference? There is a difference. If it is a default method, it should be able to override by the class who's implementing that interface. Okay, if you are using my default method, you're allowed to modify my method, or you're allowed to override, not allowed to modify my method. You can simply put it like you're allowed to override my method. I'm giving 10, but you can override to 15 based on your requirement. But in the case of static, that is not possible at all, because the static method has been called through the class name, like interface dot the method name. But default method can be accessed through the object name dot the method name. Okay, that is the next point. Access using the interface object. I can create an object. Using that object, I can access all the methods inside the interface. But in case of the static method, it has to be accessed through only the interface name. Like you can simply put that way like class name dot method name. And default method upgrade is possible. The reason is I'm allowing you to modify or giving override accessibility to you. So that is always possible for an upgradation. But even though in static it is allowed to have an implementation, but you're not have an access to override the method. So you'll have the limited access. So that's all about the default and static method. Let's see some simple example how the static and how the default methods are gonna help us to implement the Java 8 integrations. Thank you.